intercept McIntyre. And now Priest looking for South of Heaven. McIntyre turns it around. McIntyre claymore. But there's no official. The official Orango is down. McIntyre would have won the championship right there, but there's no official. And here comes another official. We got an official on the way.
Hey guys, you are listening to the Dirty Sheets on the Dirty Sheets podcast. This is a free show looking back at Clash of the Castle with my son Austin. If you want the Wrestling Informer this week, it is a show that is 100% behind the paywall. It was a short Wrestling Informer, only about 20 minutes, but it was a very, very important one, looking at what happened at Clash at the Castle, looking at what happens next, running through some of the news that we've already given out over the last few weeks that has come to fruition. So an important show looking ahead at things, and one that you need to fully pay for. So no preview, no 3 minutes, no 5 minutes, no 10 minutes. Just need to head over to the Dirty Sheets Patreon. That's thedirtysheets.com, or simply click subscribe to receive it more easily on Apple Podcasts. So me and Austin, as I said, are going to run through Clash of the Castle, and our immediate reaction was that we were relieved that we didn't go. Austin had his brown belt grading that I was speaking about on the other show. He only has the opportunity to grade in karate, every 4 months?
Yeah.
Every 4 months. So he would have been separated from his group. He's been with this group since he was quite young. Started karate when, 2021?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So he's been with the same group. And if the group passes the brown belt, they'll be in a different part of the class. So he wanted to stay with the group. That was our priority. The card wasn't really sold to us as a card where we had to miss that, and it wasn't in any way unmissable. All throughout the build, I was under the impression that Drew McIntyre was losing, so it wasn't like I was going to see some type of crowning moment, because I knew they were building towards CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And I also knew that Priest wasn't going in SummerSlam as the champion, because they weren't doing Priest and Gunther. A lot of people that I've told that I'm going to SummerSlam have turned around and said, oh, that's not looking good, Priest versus Gunther. And I said it's not going to be Priest versus Gunther, which I don't think it will be. I think that's going to be proven to be correct as well, as I do believe Seth Rollins will win the championship, and they'll do that Gunther-Rollins match that they've teased before. But I knew Drew wasn't going to win. I kind of backpedaled on that when I did my prediction show, because I felt like they would somehow just give him the belt for a week or two, or for at least until the next pay-per-view, just because there was so many fans who wanted to see it in Scotland, and also everybody had the Scots going 0-3 on that card, and somebody had to win. But as soon as we saw that tag team title change, my immediate reaction was, and I said it to Austin as well, Drew's not winning after the women won the tag belts. So the first question I'll ask you, and then I'll answer myself, do you think in any way that the women winning the tag belts made up for the fact that Drew didn't win? Because that's what that was designed to do.
I don't really think it did, because it wasn't that important. It wasn't like...
They got a good reaction, though.
Yeah, they got a good reaction, but the women's tag belts just aren't that important. Probably the least important belt in WWE.
They do change the most, yeah. Did you feel like, at that point, the crowd thought that was a bonus?
Yeah.
And not...
I think they just wanted to see a Scottish person or team win, to be honest.
Well, do you not think that they were smartened up enough that because they're paying a lot of money for these tickets, that they thought there was a very good chance that Punk would be there and would cost you, especially as Punk's picture showed up throughout the week? And do you think that Punk should have stayed in a different hotel and not the WWE hotel, which everybody knew and there were loads of pictures posted up?
Yeah, I think he most definitely shouldn't have stayed in the WWE hotel. Probably could have stayed in a hotel nearer to the arena or something. I don't know. But doing that and teasing that, it was obvious that was going to happen.
And what do you think about, you've seen it before. Punk is in these hotels. He was in the hotel at WrestleMania and he was in this hotel in Scotland, and he's very, very visible. He's always around the bar. He's always mainly drinking with girls, wasn't he? NXT.
Liv Morgan, NXT people.
Yeah. So he's fully visible. He's fully around the hotel the entire time. Yet he hates being stopped for pictures. So if you hate it, would you say it's a stupid idea to put yourself out in the hotel all of the time? Or would you just say he can do what he wants, he doesn't need to take the pictures?
I mean, it's a mixed opinion thing. He can do what he wants, but I mean, I wouldn't throw myself out if I was so moody like he was. He's nice the first time, but when you try and see him again, he's very angry, very not nice.
Well, I don't think it was about seeing him again. I think it's just he just goes through different moods throughout the day. I think he's legitimately bipolar. But I just think in this instance, it would have been better had we not all known that CM Punk was in Scotland.
Yeah, it would have been better.
And I think before, when I was told that he was going to interfere in the match, when he was so visible, I actually made me change my mind that Drew was going to win. Because he was so visible throughout the week, I thought, well, this is too obvious now. This is like actually too obvious. Now, they've literally told us that Punk's there. They've not put him in a different hotel. They've let all these pictures been posted around social media. So now the surprise is going to be that Drew wins. Not the surprise is going to be that Punk's turned up in Scotland. Did you feel that way at all? Or did you just still feel that it was always going to be a very straightforward Punk cost Drew?
No, I felt that Drew was just going to get screwed by CM Punk the whole time. I just knew that would happen. And it's building up a really good rivalry. I think maybe something could happen at Money in the Bank as well. But yeah, I'm excited for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think SummerSlam looks like it's the summer WrestleMania. It does look like it's the main show, and it does kind of look like... I haven't seen a show since Mania where I felt like I should have gone. Maybe Leon, but that's because of the crowd and not the matches. Do you feel because of that reason then that the Scottish fans got screwed? Just because... So for me, it's not down to Drew getting screwed. I thought the card was bad going in, and then it didn't deliver on the night either. So if we ran through the matches, I thought AJ and Cody was okay, but I didn't think it was as good as the first match. And I think when you build a feud up like that, when somebody quits just because someone's going to throw steps at them, I know it sounds crazy because we're saying a man was about to smash your face in with a metal object, but we've seen the steps used in wrestling before. It's not a hugely feared weapon. It's not like being choked out or you're handcuffed and someone's bashing you with a chair, or we've seen a number of reasons why people have quit, or they've just passed out where they couldn't quit. I felt it was a weak ending to what was the best match. Everything else on the card was very poor. I felt like 5, 6 out of 10 stuff. And the women's tag match even worse, maybe a 3.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Drew match was actually good. It was a good match. I didn't really like that ending. I thought it was going to be something more extreme. But the middle matches, they were terrible.
Yeah, it was a really boring pay-per-view.
I was on my phone like a lot in that pay-per-view. It was really boring.
And even the Sammy match with Chad, you didn't.
I mean, it was all right. It was probably better than the 2 women's matches, but it's nothing exciting.
I thought it was a little bit overbooked, and still they didn't commit to Alpha Academy actually leaving in Scotland, so they didn't even give those guys that. That was actually only committed to on Raw. And I think I don't think it's a massively bold statement to say that after watching Raw this week and watching Clash at the Castle, which was a pay-per-view with a minimum price of $330, if God could take you, or if there was a teleportation device and it could put you at one of those shows, give you a seat at one of the shows, would you go to the pay-per-view or would you go to the standard edition of Monday Night Raw that we saw? I mean, it wasn't a standard edition, it was a very good Raw, but would you go to Raw or Clash?
That's really tough.
Is it?
I'd probably go Raw. It's in America. I like America.
No, don't. Let's take
I'm not taking a holiday.
Let's take the cities out of the equation.
But just the general crowd, the food and
No.
Oh yeah, I'm not taking out to
It's all just the show.
Yeah, just the show. Rollins came and Uncle Howdy and that came. There was good qualifying matches. It was a really good Raw. The Clash it was mid. It was really mid, and there was just nothing too exciting. So I'd honestly say the Raw.
Yeah, so there isn't too much more to say about Clash. I think overall we're happy that we didn't change our plans to go. We will now go to SummerSlam instead, which is going to be a passing appearance. It's literally going to be landing in Cleveland, going to SummerSlam and leaving, right? That's how you want to do it.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan. So, I think everything's building towards that. Are you in agreement that we see Drew and Punk, Rollins and Gunther?
I'm not really sure about Rollins and Gunther. I think that someone's going to cash in on the Money in the Bank the same night.
At
Money in the Bank.
Who would that be?
Whoever wins, maybe Jey Uso or
on who?
Carmelo on. I think Rollins.
So you get Carmelo Hayes versus Gunther.
I don't know. Whoever just wins the Money in the Bank. If it's a face, then yeah. If it's a heel, then I just think Rollins will win.
Yeah, I think Rollins will win. Because I don't think there's much in Gunther and Priest. So let's say it is Rollins and Gunther, Punk versus Drew, Cody versus Solo Sikoa, Bayley versus Nia Jax, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley if she comes back.
LA Knight versus Logan Paul.
LA Knight versus Logan Paul could be a rematch from Money in the Bank. I can see LA Knight winning the belt for one pay-per-view and dropping it back in Cleveland because I can't think of anything significant that Logan Paul's going to do. If Logan Paul beats LA Knight, he goes straight onto his next program at the pay-per-view, which would mean starting a new program when it could be better to be more advanced into a program that people care about. I don't see LA Knight and Logan Paul, the way that they talk and the way they get themselves over, as being a one-match program. I think they could get maybe 2-3 out of it.
Yeah. I think they could do Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and then Bash in Berlin.
Yeah, I don't know if Logan Paul will go to Berlin. I think Logan Paul regularly does Saudi shows, so maybe they could blow it off in Saudi. But that's a long time between Saudi and SummerSlam, especially as it's the start of the month. You've got nearly all of August, then all of September and all of October. So you're looking at an 11-week wait before LA Knight gets his rematch if they are going to flip-flop the belts. But I think it's fair to say Logan Paul does something significant, and you still don't have Orton and the remainder of the Bloodline and Kevin Owens on that card yet that we just built for SummerSlam. But if that's a SummerSlam card, that's already by far the best card since Mania, isn't it?
Yeah.
And probably the only thing worth going to.
It's as good as one night of WrestleMania. I think the SummerSlam card's really good. If they had Orton Rhodes, especially, it'd be amazing.
You're not into Solo and...
I just don't see Solo as that big star yet. I would rather see Orton. But I think they've got to do Orton maybe at Rumble, possibly at Mania, but most likely not, because it's going to be Rock. But, yeah, I really want to see...
Could be Rock when?
WrestleMania. Rock or Reigns. The Bloodline have got to come back in at SummerSlam. Anyway, Yeah, I would love to see Orton Rose along the line, teacher versus student.
Yeah, I think they'll get to that, but I think that could be used up in Saudi or whatever. And I have a feeling it will be goody versus goody first, unless you can, or a goody versus goody match, unless you can find a way to do a program where it starts that way, and then Orton can turn, and then we can get a couple of months out of it. I'm trying to find a space where you could potentially do that. I guess a Saudi match, and then a pay-per-view. The pay-per-view after Saudi, Survivor Series, which tends to usually be the brands fighting each other, which I think is totally played out now. Actually, Triple H doesn't do that. We had War Games last time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Orton could have a War Games team against Orton's War Games team. Or maybe they're on a War Games team and they lose and they miscommunicate, and that's where you start it and you head towards Rumble for the first match. And do the second match at Elimination Chamber, or I think there might be a Saudi pay-per-view, or an Australian pay-per-view, or some international pay-per-view between Rumble and Mania. So yeah, I think they will get to that one, because it is one of the few feuds where there's actually intrigue. I mean, the Cody feud with AJ was fine. It's just that you never felt like AJ was going to lose. What did you think of your Wyatt guys, the Wyatt Six, coming in on Monday?
I liked it. I liked the way they came in. I liked all the characters, like how you're trying to tell who they are. Chad Gable was weird.
What do you think of that? The people that are dead?
Yeah, Gunther was in there, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I saw.
But he's dead now, so he might not be getting his title shot because he's dead.
Gable. Who else was dead? Gable.
Load of
Gunther.
production people were dead.
Yeah.
They say Dragunov might be dead.
Apparently, I saw that they were hinting Gable for weeks. Apparently, like it was on the you know, those little QR codes. Yeah, but
something like you used to say thank you and now you don't.
Yeah,
or something.
and then it said C.
You're on the internet too much, I think.
No, I just have a WWE TikTok. Anyway, yeah, I liked the way they came in. I liked the whole introduction. I liked the end shot. The end shot was really good with all six of them.
But what do you do now? Like, because I'm going to speak about this more on YouTube, but my quick summary of it is this. The matches, the wrestlers that they have in their group aren't really known for having the best matches, which I don't care about, because I think this whole thing that we have 5 matches on the pay-per-view and everybody has to kick out like on 2.99 and we have that throughout the match and then someone wins. I think these matches are very repetitive, and we do need somebody to come in here and do shorter matches where they can like squash people, right? But they can't just squash everybody. And when it gets to the point of these guys selling, like in terms of having 50-50 matches or even losing, that's where Bray Wyatt came undone. So what are you going to do with these guys? Are you going to have them be unbeatable so they get over, which does then affect a lot of your roster that you're trying to push? It does get in the way of what you're doing with guys that you want to elevate. On the Raw side, it's easier because obviously Cody's untouchable and Logan Paul's the champion of the US belt. But over on Raw, you want to get Bron Breakker the belt. You want to actually establish a world champion, which is probably going to be Gunther for the winter. So what do you do with these guys? Who do you feed them to keep them invincible? Because my feeling is as soon as they're in matches, as soon as they start losing any matches, they're dead, because then they're not scary.
Yeah, it's just like The Fiend when he lost to Goldberg and he became like, oh, no, this guy's not really that good anymore.
Right. But the actual Bray Wyatt character suffered from that way before as well.
Yeah. It's really tough to see what they do, because there's not really like big things or teams they can go against. But Uncle Howdy, you can just...
And it's a weird one, because you can't start them too low. Alpha Academy's disbanded. So, I mean, if you're thinking like they're going to go in and feud with Chad Gable and Alpha Academy, that's not happening. But it's also too low. It kind of sets a precedent that this is how far down on the card that we are. It'd be more interesting to see what they do with the women's side of things, because then is Nikki Cross now immediately on the level where she can go for a championship and then win the championship from someone. So can she go and challenge Rhea Ripley because just because she's now scary?
Yeah, I think...
If Rhea Ripley wins the belt of Liv.
Yeah, I think she can definitely do that. If she gets built up, maybe beats a couple of people on Raw, SmackDown. Oh yeah, they're on Raw. Yeah, Raw. I think they were just going to do what Fiend did at the start, where he was just attacking everyone when the lights went dark. I think they're just going to attack a bunch of people, and eventually they'll get on a feud with someone.
And yeah, I said it before. The strongest man in the world in the WWE used to be Mark Henry. It now looks like it's Dominic Mysterio because he continues to have the strength to say no to Liv.
I can understand him.
Can you?
Yes, I can.
What, you prefer Rhea Ripley to Liv Morgan?
No, I don't prefer either. They're both a bit dead.
Okay. Well, you've just finished the show sounding really gay. But I think you're just like shy to talk about these things. But I think maybe if I wasn't on the show, maybe you should go on Cav's show and talk to him about... He does a whole show about women and he does a vote and guys vote in and then they do like matches against each other, like who you prefer and all this. Do you think you'd want to be in that?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Cav and see if you can get a vote in that next year. So, yeah, we're going to wrap up here. Just having a little bit of back and forth about the show, about Clash of the Castle mainly, and then the current developments. The newest Wrestling Informer will be dropping on Sunday, so we're going to let SmackDown happen. I'm expecting Drew McIntyre to beat the shit out of CM Punk tonight in Scotland. Are you expecting that as well, or you think it'd be too soon after he quit?
No, I think he's going to announce that he's medically cleared, and then he's going to get smashed. Chairs, claymores, all the whole shebang. CM Punk is going to get destroyed tonight.
Would you enjoy that?
Yes, I would. It would be amazing.
Worse than he got. Have you ever seen him fight in UFC? Did you ever see him like fight in UFC?
No, I've not.
It's on YouTube. It's not very long.
Yeah, I'll watch some highlights, I guess.
You can watch the whole thing. It'll take about 5 minutes. So yeah, we, as I said, I'll be dropping Informer on Sunday instead. I'll let SmackDown happen. Try and fish out some news bits and some texts and whatnot, so we can do a show that's worth listening to on Sunday. Obviously, give this other show a little bit of time to breathe because it only came out on Monday or Tuesday, I believe. So yeah, go and check that show out. It was an important one. Obviously, shows are always available if you sign up. You can go back and listen to all of the content. And yeah, that show will be out on Sunday. I'll also be doing a quick YouTube as well, as I mentioned. I'll be doing that this weekend. This is a very difficult period for me because there is an international soccer tournament going on. And for my actual job, that does entail me watching every single game. I'm one of these people that, I mean, I am single, but if I wasn't, I would actually be able to tell my wife or girlfriend, I need to watch the football. It's part of my job. It's an excuse that nearly every guy in the country wishes he had at the moment to excuse him to watch 3 games. But I genuinely have to watch 3 games. So it's hard to cram in wrestling content when this isn't really a boom period for wrestling. I'm not talking about overall, because obviously wrestling's, especially the WWE, is doing very well. In contrast to AEW, whose rating was just hilarious this week. MJF's back. He's been back a few weeks, and you're going downwards to 500,000. This group with the Young Bucks, the EVPs, Jungle Boy, and Okada is just cancerous to your product, and the numbers do not lie. There is no excuse for 500,000 viewers. It's just incredible, and it's hilarious as well because they are such a bunch of tribalistic cunts, and to see them dropping to these levels as you've got Wembley coming up as well, it's just hilarious to me. But as I said, I will be on YouTube, circling back to that, I will be on YouTube, and I will be giving my thoughts on this Wyatt 6 situation and how WWE may be in a little bit of a hole when it comes to booking these guys. That's it for me and this edition of the Dirt Sheets. Thanks for listening.